Hi Guardians, Marley here. Today we'll learn about green and gray infrastructure in the Tampa Bay estuary system. We'll learn about the challenges Tampa Bay communities face, such as storms, storm surge, and pollution. And we'll see how experts respond to these challenges with nature-based solutions. We'll also learn what we can do to help. Humans have tremendous power to change the environment, for better and for worse. Our coastlines are especially vulnerable to our actions. Coastlines are places where the sea meets the sand and where people love to live, work, and play. In the United States, nearly 40% of people live in a coastal community, and here in Florida, that number jumps to 80%. Over time, we've built up the coastline, changing what Mother Nature designed in green, like mangroves, grasses, and salt marshes, to all sorts of things that are gray, like concrete, seawalls, gutters, and storm drains. This so-called gray infrastructure makes the shorelines harder than they were before. Water bounces off the structures like seawalls rather than getting absorbed into the ground. These challenges worsen when the infrastructure gets old and breaks down. Harder coastlines are also vulnerable to the changing climate. Sea levels are rising and storms are growing more intense. And all that rainfall can cause erosion, which removes the sand and weakens the coastline over time. But there's a solution. We can help our coastlines return to the way Mother Nature first designed them, much greener, much softer. It's called green infrastructure. Adding features to the shoreline, like mangroves, seagrasses, salt marsh plants, oysters, and more can all help. These are called living shorelines. They keep the shoreline stable and dampen the energy of the waves that come in during storms. And plants on the land help absorb the rainwater like a sponge, rather than allowing it to dump into the waterways. Nature-based solutions are the best. They work better, look prettier, and provide habitat for living things. We can implement greener solutions in smaller ways too, like our own backyards. We can add gardens, use rain barrels to collect and reuse rainwater, place oyster gardens off docks, and more. They all make a difference. Hundreds of green infrastructure projects in Tampa Bay have been implemented in recent years. Program lead for the Guardians of the Gulf program, Kristen Cusack, spoke with Tom Reese, one of the restoration experts in our area. Tom is an ecologist, a scientist who studies how living things interact with their environment. He founded the Ecosphere Restoration Institute, and his job is to make shorelines greener, healthier, and stronger.
Well, our coastlines are facing a number of challenges right now. We're getting bigger storms, more rain, and sea level rise. We can't stop sea level rise in its tracks. We need to do things on the big picture to reduce the carbon in the atmosphere. But in the meantime, what we can do is we can put in living shorelines or living seawalls. And what that does is provide ecosystem services, room for animals and birds to hang out, while we hopefully can improve the conditions for sea level rise to slow down. Today we're using more nature-based solutions for green infrastructure. There's a number of terms you can use, but what that really is working with the natural environment. We have an eroding shoreline. Instead of putting a vertical wall up, which is gray structure, what we're doing is using a green approach, which is other materials instead of a vertical wall out of concrete. So you can use wood, you can use other structures to break the wave energy and then still protect the shoreline.
Tom also showed Kristen different kinds of living shorelines, which are on display at a demo site he installed at the Suncoast Youth Conservation Center in Apollo Beach, Florida.
So what we have here is a traditional seawall. Many parts of the country and coastal areas are these vertical walls, and they hold the bank, but there is no life, right?
So what can we do about it?
Well, if you can, it'd be great to take the seawall out, but if there's a lot of waves, we might not be able to do that. So if that's the case, you can take another option, which is put things in front of the seawall, like over here. Let's take a look at this.
Okay.
And what you see here, we still have the wall, right? But what do you see here that's different? I see a lot of rock and I see plants. So what was done here, we merely put some rock in here, which takes the wave energy away from the wall so we don't get that mud and going into the water column. And also you can see we have cordgrass here, and that's a native grass. And so just by doing this, we improve the conditions. You still have the wall because in this particular location we need it, but now we have life here. We didn't have that over there.
Right.
So immediately we have more ecosystem services and life. Gray to green, and that's what we should be all doing. We want to go back to the green.
Tom did a great job showing us the challenges our coastlines face and some of the solutions used to make them stronger and more resilient. Let's remember this: taking care of our coastlines requires all of us to lend a hand. Each of you has a great power to make a difference using your unique skills and talents. You matter, and you are unstoppable. Thank you, Guardians.